Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about the EU pulling out the big card to counter Trump's trade promises. Trump promised to go after the EU with a 25% tariff, further isolating the U.S. from its longtime allies. The EU is signaling that it isn't going to simply ignore Trump's trade policies this time. It's worth noting this occurred before Trump's little stunt with Zelensky in the Oval Office. There might be a misunderstanding of attitudes by some in the Trump administration because during the last Trump term, European responses to Trump's erratic trade policies was mild. Trump's team at the time read this as weakness, and it looks like the current Trump team is expecting more of the same. Most people in foreign policy and economic circles during Trump's first term understood that Europe was basically playing a waiting game. They viewed Trump as a fluke and didn't want to disrupt alliances and relationships that were decades in the making. They viewed Trump as a toddler, stomping his feet for a candy bar. They patiently waited and breathed a sigh of relief when the tantrum ended. Then, the American people gave him another candy bar, and now it's starting again. But the thing is, the EU didn't just wait. They also developed new tools to deal with any future situations that were similar. Quote, "We have an anti-coercion instrument, and we will have to use it." That's the EU Agriculture Commissioner. In modern terminology, that's the EU's trade law. But law, in this case, is the military law, LAW, light anti-tank weapon, more commonly called a trade bazooka. The anti-coercion instrument is new. It came into force the last couple of years. It's literally a set of options that was built with lessons learned from the first Trump term. It allows broad or very specific actions to be taken against a country the EU sees as seeking to coerce it economically. Those actions could be tailored to hit the U.S. economy as a whole or just the business interests of Trump allies. The chair of the European Parliament's Trade Committee said, quote, "We will not let ourselves be bullied, not with tariffs nor with threats." The U.S. is also kind of a sitting duck in one regard when it comes to an EU response. Yes, the U.S. imports more goods from Europe than the EU imports from the U.S. But, and this is worth paying attention to, the EU imports more services from the U.S. than the U.S. imports from the EU. Generally speaking, not always, but generally, service companies are easier to set up than manufacturing companies. The EU could target U.S. services and incentivize investment in Europe in those industries. That would lead to Europe cutting out U.S. companies permanently. Trump is probably expecting a repeat of his first term. The EU doesn't look like they're planning for that. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.